I would just make these short videos. And eventually things just started, kind of like you described, things just started picking up and people started watching it and commenting and engaging. And I think that's a little bit addictive because once you get some engagement, you're like, "Ooh, I want more."
Why did you decide to start sharing via blog? That's something that, people ask why I created a YouTube channel, and it was like, I don't know, I just like making videos, and I got lucky with one, and I decided to make more. But I'd love to hear about that decision.
Yeah, sure. So for the risk blog, I started it because actually similar to what I did for data, but the risk started because I didn't really know risk management. I used to sell the trainings, which is very different than actually doing risk management. And anything I learned, I was basically like, okay, if I Google a new regulation that just came out, there was not much on the sites that I was reading, or it was really complicated to understand. So I'm like, I can make this so much simpler. I can write 2 paragraphs. And I even had this thing called the Risk Management Weekly. I didn't keep up with the weekly. I remember somebody telling me, don't call it the Risk Management Weekly because you're not going to do it on a weekly basis. I'm like, oh, yeah, I am. Yeah, it lasted like 6 weeks. But anyway, because, work gets in the way. So my reason really
And
was
life.
yes, work and life, exactly. Well, at that point, I didn't have the kids yet, so it wasn't as much. Who knew, like, life was easy before them? I didn't think so before that. But anyways, yeah, so the main goal there was so I can come back and refer to it when I needed to, and then also providing other people with a simpler way of explaining some complex topics. And I carried that throughout with the data stuff as well, because when I would learn how to do something complicated in Tableau for the first time, and I would have had to read a couple blogs, watch a couple YouTube videos to get my answer. And I'm like, I can simplify this even more, make a 2-minute video that I can refer to later. So instead of writing stuff in a book, I created my YouTube channel, Story by Data, where I would just make these short videos. And eventually things just started, kind of like you described, things just started picking up and people started watching it and commenting and engaging. And I think that's a little bit addictive because once you get some engagement, you're like, "Ooh, I want more." So I kept putting out more content, but it was really the community that kept me coming back because people are so nice in the data space, as you know, like on LinkedIn, on YouTube. YouTube, not as nice. I think LinkedIn is a lot nicer because people have their real names on there. I think they're a lot less likely to put some weird comments.
Yeah.
So,
Well, something you said in there was really brilliant about how you can create value by simplifying things. I think the trend in data science and machine learning is to over-engineer, to overcomplicate things. And visualization, in essence, is to take complicated data and to make it clear and make it easier to digest. And a
yes.
lot of people don't realize that a project can do that. And they don't have to do any, well, visualization can be very complicated, but if they're creating value through making it easier to understand, that's just as important as making a great pipeline or making something that's very predictive. So for anyone watching, when you're building these projects, yes, you can make a great predictive model, but you can create just as much value if you're taking the same data and you're giving it legs, making it useful to someone else through that lens.